Hey there, wherever you're watching me from, whenever you're watching me from, greetings and welcome to Chuckadelphia. I am your gracious host, Chuck, and today I'm feeling quite good. You know, a couple weeks ago, Dr. Fortino told me that he wanted me to focus on eating meat. Essentially, the carnivore diet. And that was kind of hard because I had been in a really good routine of eating carrots, peppers, tomatoes, really good veggies, spinach, you name it. You know, but Dr. Fortino said, focus on eating meat, cut down on your veggies. I was like, yeah, even greens. He said, no spinach, no kale, no green day, no Al green, none of that. So I'm like, all right, let me give this a shot. So that first day was really hard, but I stuck to it. And I found out a week later, that first week, I had dropped 6 pounds. Then the second week, I dropped about 2 or 3 pounds. So overall, it was pretty good, 8 or 9 pounds in 2 weeks. So, you know, I'm just curious. I had some questions for Dr. Fortino to learn a little more about the carnivore diet. So I want you to come along with me to talk to Dr. Fortino today, and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about the carnivore diet and some other things relating to health and nutrition. So while you're here, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notifications bell, share this video, that'd be freaking sweet. And yeah, tell me in the comments section what kind of diet you're on. Are you doing carnivore? Are you keto? Are you doing Slim Fast, Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem? What are you doing? Please tell me in the comments section. Also, if you have any questions for me to ask Dr. Fortino, that'd be great too, because he loves to hear from you as well. This is your chance to ask the premier weight loss doctor in the Philadelphia, New Jersey area. I think he's the best in the world. You know my feelings about that. He's helped me drop 272 pounds so far. Maybe a little more, I'll find out in a little bit. But yeah, let me know any questions you have for the doc in the comments section. And yeah, come along with me to Chuckadelphia. Let's go. Here with Dr. Fortino in his Blackwood, New Jersey office. Remember, you can find Dr. Fortino on his socials, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Look for the Philly Diet Doc. Also on Facebook as well. So, yeah, Doc?
Excellent.
Yeah.
What's going on, Chuck?
Well, you know, 2 Wednesdays ago, you told me to focus on meat, right? And that's basically the carnivore diet. So I started on that path, and since then, in about 19 days, I've lost 10 pounds on it.
That's amazing.
It's pretty good, right? So can you elaborate exactly what the carnivore diet is and what makes it different from other low-carb diets like the keto diet and the paleo diet?
Carnivore is a nice term to sort of think about how our ancestors ate. How did we eat before we had refrigeration or supermarkets? We hunted and gathered, and we ate meat. Our guts are meant to have meat and fat and blood. These are the product of the animal that was hunted. Nose to tail, everything was consumed, even the brain. The skin was used to make clothes. And that's a carnivore diet. If you couldn't catch something or hunt something down, what did you eat? Berries, you know. And I guess how we evolved to know what kind of fruit was not going to kill us. You know, certain plants could kill you, and then figuring out there were things under the ground that you can eat. Pretty amazing. That whole survival mechanism. That's the carnivore diet. It's basically meat and fruit, some tubers. There are variations of it. Which one works best? Try it. If it doesn't work for you, you change it. But it's basically protein. It's basically meat from animal sources.
Now, I remember the first day you said to reduce vegetables. And I said, all of them. And you said, well, pretty much you implied most of them, right? So, and you gave me a term. I can't remember what the term was for the vegetables that I have to avoid.
Some vegetables can cause immune dysfunction, like lectins or nightshades. The lectin is the protein that could be in certain vegetables, like your tomatoes, your tomato seeds, or your eggplant, peppers, legumes like lentils, peanuts,
Zucchinis and...
Correct. It could be. There's a whole. Just Google lectins, and you'll get a list of foods. Cooking them a certain way is very important because you can reduce about 95% of that lectin protein, and that. There's some theory behind that as how it enters into the gut microbiome, and disrupts the gut microbiome because it can destroy that barrier between the lumen, the inside lining of the gut, and the internal space of our body. So I don't think vegetables are bad. They're certainly not insulin producing foods, but they can cause inflammation.
Okay. So like if we were to reduce vegetable intake, what would be a good way to replace that fiber?
Fiber is interesting. There's no metabolic requirement for your gut to have fiber. You don't need fiber. So you don't really have to replace it, which makes sense.
Okay.
There are no essential carbohydrates, and if you really think about it, there are essential fats, and the labels of foods will, hey, great source of essential fats. And there are essential amino acids, which are proteins. You know. We don't have essential carbohydrates. You don't have to have a carbohydrate to survive. We think that we have to eat carbohydrates to maintain our glucose, but your body is amazing and able enough to make glucose out of proteins and fats. How about that?
Well, it is pretty.
It is pretty.
The body is an amazing.
We
organism.
can survive.
Absolutely.
We can survive.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So, is the carnivore diet? Is it a long-term lifestyle approach, or is it just something that
it could be tricky?
Short term.
Yeah, it can be tricky to do long term. I don't think it's bad to do, and I do it most of the time. Do I eat a piece of fruit? Do I have a piece of bread now and then? Of course. And the goal is to kind of test it out. If you did it for a certain amount of time and you feel like you need to stop, you stop. It can be very challenging to do long term, especially eating a lot of fat. It can be very challenging to do for many reasons. Because your brain also does have a sweet side. It wants to have some dessert now and then, and that's okay. You know, you can. You don't have to eat a whole piece of apple pie, but you can have a piece. If you've been abstaining from these foods for a while, it's amazing how your brain and your body require less of it or want less of it. But carnivore diets are very hard to sustain over a long period of time. Define a long period of time, weeks, months. You know, it'd be challenging.
Okay. All right. Yeah. When you first told me about it, I was really concerned because I love apples. Like, you know, especially with the end of August and September coming up with apple season coming up. That was hard, but you know, I think it's just like everything else that I've been doing from the start. It's all about establishing new habits, you know, and like once you break free from those old habits, I think with each day that passes, you start to develop those newer habits, and it becomes easier.
That's a very good point. We're products of the people that raise us. We're products of, and they're products of the people that raise them. And to say that that's a genetic thing, it's more of an environmental thing. But we come from, you know, your family, and things are handed down. And of course, we eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. Hey, if you've been trained to do that for 40 years, 50 years, whatever, it's hard to break. There's no data to support that you have to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. You can eat once a day. You can fast. But our way of living and our nutritional value of food is much different today than it was in 1950s and 60s, post-World War II. The food is much more processed. A lot of chemicals, a lot of glyphosate in foods, a lot of production. And I do think causes a change in the gut microbiome. And that's a big part of why people are sick today. The gut microbiome, the bacteria that lives in our gut, that keeps us alive, is very important, which I think we've talked about before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, something to point out, I think we get caught on this term carbohydrate or low carbohydrate, and that's really not the way to look at it. When you shifted to that carnivore diet, you brought insulin down even further. And I like to look at it as a low insulin diet.
Okay.
What does that mean? I do believe most people, especially in this day and age, have an insulin resistant pattern of life. Meaning their glucose is rising, their insulin has to work harder, their pancreas has to work harder to make more insulin to bring it down into that normal range. And it's this process that takes time, and you're insulting the body with foods that cause more insulin requirement. And over time, now the insulin can't bring the glucose down to under 100. Now it's over 100, it's 110. And as you keep eating that same food pyramid that they tell us to eat, we're getting more insulin resistant, and over time it produces more inflammation. Now your pancreas has to work triple the amount of work. Eating a carnivore diet allows your body to come into a more low insulin state, and we require less insulin, and that's very important because you can't burn fat in a high insulin state. And our goal isn't to lose weight; it's to lose body fat. We don't want to be fluffy. We want to be lean and dense. So that's why I think carnivore diets work well. And there is no studies that that did this long term. Do it to where you feel what you need. And if you're not getting a result, you have to start to assess what's on your plate.
Right.
The answer's always on your plate.
And how does this affect other areas, such as like like the mental aspect, like with like brain fog and like maybe something like anxiety? And I've also heard stories of like with like skin issues. Like I've heard stories of people's acne and psoriasis getting better due to a carnivore diet. Like how does that connect to those areas?
Connects through the gut microbiome. Meat and fat seem to really do well in the gut microbiome. It's the non-meats, the vegetables that may be changed, especially grains, wheat, grains, not fruit, not vegetable. Because fiber is important for the gut, although it's not necessary. It is important. I may have said that or taken it wrong. And if you like fruit, eat it. But the gut microbiome, when it's disrupted, when there is movement of bad bacteria into the small intestine, which we call small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, there's certainly a link between the gut microbiome and anxiety, the gut microbiome and schizophrenia, the gut microbiome and autism spectrum disorder. It's all connected. There are papers, just put it in your Google search and you'll come up, it'll show you some papers. And that's what happens when we remove the bad foods, like the grains, the processed food. Your gut microbiome has a chance to heal. And it could take a while. But even studies, there are some studies that have shown within 90 days, insulin resistance comes down, and people are no longer type 2 diabetics. So there's a big connection. Gut and the brain are very well connected. And skin. I can tell if a person is doing well on their diet if they have psoriasis. Just looking at the degree of psoriasis, the inflammation. If they're not doing well, their psoriasis is flared, their legs are swollen. They're not following the diet.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe it is related to the carnivore diet, but I feel like my weightlifting sessions have gotten better. I feel like my arms are shaping a little bit. I'm not here to brag or anything like that. It just feels good.
You come a long way. You have a lot of bragging rights.
Yeah, but it just, I feel like, when you train a lot, the carnivore diet is reflected in how you train. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Muscle movement is essential to life. We have to move. If we don't move, your muscles just become, they don't do anything. You can't. You're weak and frail. And as you age, you want to be strong. You don't want to be frail. And I say this to people that we see. Can you save yourself from a burning building? If you at this point in your life, if you are this frail, where are you going to be in 5 years? It's not good. So to be able to get up and walk, a mile, even at age 70 or 80. My father does it, he's 92.
Yeah.
But exercise is very important. When the muscles work, they use a lot of glucose. They're your biggest spender of glucose. Our main currency of energy is glucose. And if we don't have it, we can make it from proteins and fats. And your body is a wonderful machine. It can make fuel out of anything. But we don't want to break down muscle. We want to utilize the glucose that we consume from the right foods and build muscle. Your muscle is the biggest energy spender. So carnivore diets really feed the muscles well. They do.
All right. And speaking of aging, is the carnivore diet okay for people that are getting older? Because as we were saying earlier, like people say it's harder to lose weight as you get older. Like I'm an old man myself, and it's been a challenge for me. But I'm sure you've heard a lot of people say the same thing, right?
It does. People feel younger, and a byproduct of maybe a carnivore diet could be ketone production, and the ketones are the byproducts of fat metabolism.
Okay.
Remember, we can only burn fat in a low insulin state, and to be in ketosis can be very challenging. Not that you have to be in ketosis, but the body will make a certain amount of ketones, and ketones are caloric. They have caloric value. They have energy value.
Yeah.
The brain loves ketones, and it helps you. And there is a connection, and the mental clarity you have. Some people have, when they say they fast for a day, how they think better. I've heard people say that.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
I've fasted for like 24 hours, more or less. But I mean, the whole process, everything all together. Like sometimes, I've said this before, I feel like I think better. I think I'm more aware of what's going on around me. I feel like Neo in the Matrix when he starts to realize he's the one. It's an amazing feeling.
Good.
So, yeah.
Ketones are made in the metabolism of fats, and there are three. There's acetone, which we breathe out. There's beta hydroxybutyrate and acetoacetate, and there is a balance between those two. But you can check with a ketone. You can use a urine stick, or there's some glucometers now that will check it.
Okay.
I have a patient who's doing that, and she is in a very mild ketosis, doing a carnivore diet, and she knows exactly every day she gets her reading. She does it 3 times a day. She gets her reading, and she knows when she's in ketosis by reading the meter, and she feels it. She says she just thinks better.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Very cool. So, I guess maybe one final piece of advice for anybody that is starting out on the carnivore diet. What would you suggest they do?
Keep a log. Keep a food log. No numbers, no calories, carbs, no macros. Just write down what you're eating. And if you want to track macros, that's fine. It can be challenging, but it actually might make you think twice about what you're eating, and you do better. But when you log it, you start to see what you're eating, and then you look for the result. Am I weighing less? Do I feel lighter in my stomach? Do I feel like the inches are moving? Do I feel better? Looking at what you've eaten and comparing that is important. You start slow. You start to eliminate things, taking away things that are not so good, like whole wheat, whole grain, multi-grain, oatmeal, bran, brown rice, white rice, pasta, hot or cold cereal. Anything in a box, a bag, or a jar, or a container, barcode, probably is highly processed, has more than one ingredient. But you take all that away and you start adding meats, fish, eggs. Maybe you add fruits and vegetables. How do you feel? There's no one right way to do it. You certainly can Google carnivore diets and you will get a bunch of experts that do it, and that's a great place to start as well. But you start slow and you make small changes. Every week you make a change. But that record keeping is very important. You got to write it down. Okay.
And I imagine just like all the other things that you mentioned, as far as looking at the label is concerned, I guess the quality of the meat that you buy is also important.
It is.
Look for chemicals.
Correct.
I know that before you said if you have access to like a local butcher, that might be ideal.
As long as their purveyor is good.
Yeah.
But I don't I mean, can you make a difference between grass-fed and grain-fed? Can you really tell the difference? I don't know. I know I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm not that. My palate isn't that good.
Okay.
If I check my ketones, or if I'm checking my insulin levels, and I'm eating, or my lab work, am I going to see a difference? I don't know. I think grass-fed is fine.
Yeah.
I think grain-fed is fine if that's what you can get.
Yeah.
And it can be expensive. I mean, look at some of the butters I buy. Sometimes they're like $12 for a stick.
Yeah.
But I don't buy it all the time.
Yeah. But it's authentic butter.
It's
real butter.
It's authentic.
That's all that matters. Right?
I had to tell you something else I forget. We should, there is no one recipe for this. There are many ways to do it, and things that I would say the players that determine success are, what is your gut microbiome now? And it may be very hard to make a change, and when you do make the change and you feel a little bit weird, note it. You go slow, because that can be challenging to jump into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed that, like when people just eat differently, they feel funny because they're not getting the same sugar rush that they're coming back to normal.
Absolutely, you're right. And also, like, anytime you eat, if you ever venture off of what you've become since the beginning, like your new diet plan or whatever, you do feel different.
Different.
Yeah. Like nothing is the same once you reach a certain level.
And what you say, I find it funny. I'll go through a nice diet with someone and says, "Well, when can I go back to eating normal?" I said, "You are eating normal, and you're overweight, and you have problems.
Yeah.
Why would you want to go back to that?"
Yeah. I never want to go back.
You never want to go back. Yeah.
And I would tell you, just like Stone Temple Pilots sang in the song "Creep," I'm half the man I used to be.
That's true.
And I started down this path with Dr. Fortino. He's the man. Like I said, Philly Diet Doc on social media. Also, www.drfortino.net. Check him out on his website. Philly Diet Doc, the South Jersey Diet Doc. He is the best. Thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Fortino.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment if you have any questions for the doc. See you in a moment, okay? So, boys and girls, gentlemen and ladies, that's just about all for today. Thank you very much for coming along with me to Chuckadelphia to watch this interview with Dr. Fortino. I hope you learned a little bit about the carnivore diet and some other things. Of course, if I missed anything, please put the question in the comments section right now. Let me know if I did a good job. If you liked the conversation, I'd appreciate it. Also, give me a nice, big, fat carpe diem in the comment section to let me know that you made it all the way to the end. So, here from Betty Park, which is located just outside of Chuckadelphia, I'm here to say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you keep coming back for more future episodes of Talkin' Fit. As always, carpe diem, my friends. Full steam ahead. Ciao, ciao.